Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shimayo. This is the MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness panel for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have lots of different events in person and online. We're in person in the Pacific Northwest, and we have lots of different online events. Today's our Awakening panel, and the theme is Black Cat Conjure for Halloween and Samhain. We've got 8 practitioners that are here on the panel today. I'm having technical trouble, so you're not seeing me at the moment. Oh, great, I just got my document back. I'm going to post some information in the chat that's basic info about what's happening today. It's free to be here to listen and learn, and it's a small price to ask a question of the panel. We're going to have the panelists go through and introduce themselves so you know who's going to be here today. And all the panelists have specials. I'm going to be posting that, or Susy's going to be helping post that in the chat as well. And we didn't get a chance to do our Facebook Live earlier, so we might do that while we're doing the introductions. Let me see if I can spotlight us, and if so, we'll start doing the introductions when I can spotlight everyone. Let's see, so I'll put those of us up to the front. Great. So thanks everyone for your patience while we're having the slight challenges today. All right. Oh yeah, and Natalie, if you could turn on your video, that's how I can get you up to the front. And Thorne, if you could turn on your video too, and then I'll have you all up at the front. That would be great. And I'll turn mine on for a moment to get me up here, but I don't know what I can see. Oh, you can see me. All right, great. And we've got more people coming in. All right, Thorne. Okay, great. And Natalie. Great. All right, it's still for me. All right. All right, well, let's see. I'm just going to get Facebook Live started before we do the introductions. Again, thanks everyone for your patience today. So practitioners are going to have a couple of minutes to share who you are and what you do, and then we'll go around and talk about the theme after. So I'm saying we're going to talk about the theme after we do the basic introductions. If you don't want to take as much time, you don't have to take as much time. It's up to you, but you have a couple of minutes. And I'll just break in and let you know if you're going over your time to wrap up, since I can't use my same visual cue that I usually use. And everyone in the audience, as people introduce themselves, you might be thinking about what question you're going to ask the panel. You may already have a plan. You may be here just to listen. That's all fine. And we do ask that if you want to ask a question to the panel afterwards, after we do our intros, if you can pay first and let us know in the chat that you would like to ask a question, that you've paid, and I'll get you on the list to ask a question. Yeah, I feel like there was something else I was going to say too, but I have no idea. All right. So I'm starting the live. If it'll actually go through, it'll work. So thanks so much for joining us. This is our MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness Awakening panel. Today's theme is Black Cat Conjure for Halloween and Samhain. We're going to have our practitioners introduce themselves. And you can join us here in Zoom at joinmeweonline.com. Let's see. So I think we talked about having Susie and then Henry and then Lisa, and then we'll have Thorne. Go ahead, Susie.
Okay. Thanks, Laureli. Hi, y'all. I'm Susie Parker Goins of Blue Lightning Healing, and I am a channel. I feel that we all are channel because we bring source through in ways that are different for each of us, but it's still bringing source in a way that helps to uplift and enlighten and help us all awaken. We shift energies and stuff like that. Some of the ways it comes through me is that I bring through spirit guides, so I can either receive messages from, say, Michael or Gaia or whoever else there is, or I can to give you tea and a scone and that sort of thing. And they can have a conversation with you. They all want you to be comfortable enough with them so that you can talk to them at any time. So what I like to do is to introduce you to these guides, and so that you can develop that relationship so you call on them whenever you need it. You're not tied to any one of us. I'm also happy to look at past lives. A lot of our patterns are brought forward, and we can work to resolve issues, that recurring issues for you. I'm incredibly happy to argue with ancestors if they are an origin point of some sort of pattern that is bothering you. I do a lot of energy work. I read tarot cards, but here I like to tap into that energy and to look at things in a way to help you understand better. I have a podcast on my website at bluelightninghealing.com. Lately, I've been doing a lot of light language there. And then, Lisa, is that taking your thunder if I talk about Mystic Mosaic? All righty, thank you. Lisa, Stewart, Kybertran, and I also have got, 4 episodes up now. We just premiered our Halloween episode today, and it's called Mystic Mosaic Podcast, and that's on YouTube. And we talk about stuff, and in the same way, we're breaking down concepts to make it accessible to you. And it's exciting. It's a lot of fun, and I love spending time with them. So yeah, you can contact me at Susy at bluelightninghealing.com. That's SU. Looking forward to having a wonderful evening, and let's let that energy flow over to Laureli's router.
Thanks so much, Susy. I think we've got Henry next.
Yes. Hi, I'm Henry India Holden with Holden Metaphysical Consultancy, and you can reach me at henryindiaholden.com. And what I do is a variety of things, but whatever it is that I do, I feel divinely guided. So some people call it God. Guides me and has guided me my entire life. The modalities that I work in, I premiere it yet because this is the first sample deck and there's still some changes, some dramatic changes that happened, but so much. So this is a wonderful gateway for divine truth, for divine reality to kind of channel through and give us the connection that we need to have the insights that we need to get where we want to go. And other modalities I use are life coaching, of course. I'm a trained life coach. And I've taken on ecotherapy, so helping you develop a relationship with the rest of the BOHM, David Bohm, the scientist, an astrophysicist who was rather than as a life coach delivering something to you and extracting what we need. It's very, very organic. It's about just creating an amazing space, but intentional with many tools. Be here and no worries about the technical issues on my end. I love that we're just here anyway.
Thanks so much. If we finish and I haven't responded, if someone could just let me know in the chat, because I have breaks in the sound. I believe Lisa is next, and then Thorne, and then we'll have Karen.
Thanks, Laureli. Hey, everyone. I'm Lisa Stewart of Co-Create Magic. I call myself a creative mixed medium. As a lifelong intuitive, I've always had each foot in 2-dimensional planes. I grew up with an invisible friend with the ability to see ghosts and read energy intentions. Since I was young, I've had a personal connection with animals and pets. I can talk to my 2 live kitties, Zari and Mutant, and I believe Source is a translator. Here's why. I learned that Zari and I might have been friends many generations ago. Zari once told me that her toy mousie's name is Bunty. I had to look that up, only to find that Bunty is one of the various nicknames of Elizabeth. My real name is Elizabeth. So it's very possible that we were related or we were besties. As for mutant, it's possible that he was my husband once upon a time. Joke's on him. Today, I can call my spirit kitties back from the cosmos. I see one of my tabby cats playing in our red travel wagon, or sitting in cardboard boxes meant for our live cats, or sitting on the table among glassware where they're not supposed to be when they were alive. So if you hear me shout, "Get off" on an empty counter, you'll know why. Lastly, I have a spirit kitty named Chardonnay whose feet are in both dimensions as well. He guides me in the spirit world, in my landscape, and often visits me in the mundane world, walking all over me in bed, sometimes providing healing energy when I'm sick. So if you have an animal that's moved from this world to the next, and you'd like more information on what steps you can take to rekindle your energetic relationship, I'm happy to share that with you. As a footnote, I'm also a sigil designer. I've drawn pet protection sigils free for you to apply in any material you like. You can just go to my website at cocreatemagic.com. I look forward to all the questions that you have for us tonight. So let's conjure some magic.
Thanks so much, Lisa. All right, we've got Thorne next. So I'm going to take some of us off of the spotlight so that'll be easier for them to see each other.
All right, how are we looking? Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Thorne. My pronouns are they, he. I'm here in Portland, Oregon. I'm really excited to be here and involved with this panel. I'm looking forward to the discussion. I work in tarot and energy work for supporting health and the individual. And I'm an astrology chart reader as well. I have a bunch of different modalities that I work in, but I'm really excited to see what kind of talks come up tonight. I'm a life coach as well as an ASL teacher. And yeah, that's what I do for work, and I'm really happy to be here tonight. Oh, my website, of course. Website is www.spiritoracle.com. You can also find me on Instagram. That's going to be at Heart of Oak. And I'm not on Facebook, so Instagram or my website. You can shoot me an email, that's fine too. But you can find me in those two places easiest. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Thorne. I'm going to add practitioners back on. And I think we said Karen is next. We'll get you up front and then you can start again. All right, go ahead, Karen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Coccia. I am so excited to be here tonight. I am a quantum healer, a multidimensional mentor, and a soul alignment coach. I'm trained in a number of healing modalities, including decodes, several different modalities of Reiki now, and access bars. I also am trained in sound healing, intuitive healing, life coaching through tarot, accessing Akashic records, and also some more physical things such as homeopathy now and yoga. My mission is really to guide people so that they can see, feel, and experience just how powerful they are. Each and every person truly is. I help people to release everything that's not authentic to them so that they can show up for themselves in the way they intended to when they incarnated on this plane. I connect energetically with clients and really run one-on-one sessions in a conversational way, tapping into your body, listening to what's going on in your life. And then we do things like cutting cords, releasing beliefs, patterns, clearing off whatever trapped emotions there are. The sky is really I won't even say the sky is the limit, the universe is the limit. And just really get you to a place where you are aligned with your own soul and feel empowered in your life. I am offering $20 off on virtual sessions this evening with promo code MeWe20. My website is KarenCoccia.com, KarenCoccia.com, and you can reach me at Karen@KarenCoccia.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I am just so excited to be here with all of you.
Thanks so much, Karen. All right. I don't know if I planned out who is next. Maybe, is that Natalie?
Okay, I'm Natalie Kahn-Aguilar, and my specialty is the aura portraits. They are drawings, not photographs. They're drawings that I create as I verbally give you the information that I'm receiving from your auric field, from the energy field. My guidance connects with the client's guidance, and I am told what is important at that time for me to draw and for me to say. So the words and the drawing go together. And the goal here is to, well, it's to show everyone what is around them, what's important in their life right now, but it also shows them their strengths, their inner qualities, some of their spiritual guidance and powers that maybe they weren't as aware of. It clears up some confusion about guidance and with spirit and this sort of thing. And sometimes I'll have guides, relatives, and influences that come in that they don't expect, but are very, very gratifying and tends to explain a lot of what's going on in their life. So my goal with this, of course, is to show everyone what they are and how powerful they are and how they can, use the gifts and the powers that they've got. They already have. I also do tarot. I do Reiki. So tonight, if I'm being asked a question, it's either using the tarot cards or strictly an intuitive sort of reading based on my connection with whoever asks the question. My website is moonwisemystic.com. I also have handmade ritual tools and magical supplies of different types on that site as well. And then, of course, my Instagram is @moonwisemystic. Those are the two places that you can find me and see my my work and my products. So I'm happy to be here tonight. This should be fun.
Great, thanks so much. I think most of us have, we're switching interpreters. Okay, great. All right, so I think Viana, maybe you are the next one up. So go ahead, take a couple minutes.
Hi, my name is Viana, and I am very new at all of this, and I've never been on a panel before, so bear with me. I help people build partnerships and gaining support from the subtle worlds. I can help you build a connection with the subtle beings that you have to help you. I work a lot through the body. I've been a mind-body worker for 45 years, and I help you become more embodied, which helps you connect easier to the subtle beings. There are some subtle beings that really have a hard time connecting with you if you're not completely embodied. I help do energy clearing of spaces. I do animal and plant whispering, and I just do a lot. It's like I said, it's all very new to me because I just retired from being a mind-body worker, and I've done all of this with my clients for 45 years, and now I am learning how to work with people online. And I am drawing a blank. So thank you so much for being here. And my website, you will be able to find out a little bit more about me. is Viana, V as in Victor, IAN as in Nancy, A dash motion.com. Thank you.
Great. And maybe I'll say a little bit too. So Viana, you've been doing this work for a long time and you're not used to talking about it explicitly with people. So you're not used to advertising or marketing that you're doing this work. So you're learning to share with us about it, even though you have a long history. It's great.
That's very true. I'm not used to talking about it. I'm coming out of the psychic closet.
It's great. All right. I think everyone has introduced themselves except for me at this point, right? All right, everyone, with all my tech challenges, I'm having a little harder time tracking it all today. All right, I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach and matchmaker. I read your eyes, read your soul. I think we all read each other's eyes all the time. If you think of someone with dark sunglasses where you can't see their eyes, there's so much missing. And as soon as you see their eyes, there's so much there. So I interpret what I see in your eyes with a set of archetypes that I call thrive types, or archetypes for thriving. My aim is to help you better understand your soul, your purpose, and make choices that help you be in alignment with your soul purpose for your career, relationships. I love to use this for matchmaking, for hiring, so helping people connect with each other for all kinds of purposes, including connecting people, right, socially, and for our own professional growth and personal growth. I also can use this to help you understand relationships that you're already in. If I see your eyes and I see the other person's eyes, and there are other ways that I'm tapping in and picking up kind of emotional patterns and motivations and things beyond the archetypes that I read that I don't fully understand what I'm tapping into. I do also body psychology, so I'm reading your body. Little things like just an itch and where we touch ourselves have meaning. So I look at what's happening in the moment. It gives me insight into what feelings you might have. And I can teach you all these different kinds of things too. So I can teach other people how to read eyes. I can teach you how to pay more attention to your body and the messages that are coming through your body. Yeah, so my aim is to create environments and teach people tools so that they feel more comfortable being who they are, sharing who they are with the world, sharing who they are in all kinds of contexts, and being authentic even when they feel nervous, how to shift from where they feel scared and nervous so that they can be more in flow. Oh, that's a bit about what I do. And I've got specials as well. I've been doing all kinds of drop-in dating and matchmaking events, and I'm getting a few more ones up on my website for next month. So those are some of my specials too. I'll post those in chat shortly. You can learn more about me at intuitiveeyereading.com or the archetypes thrivetypes.com, or all about me at laurelishimayo.com. And that's all in the chat. And then all of our MeWe fairs, mewefairs.com, mewefairs.com. All right, we did all do our intros, I think. Okay, great. Well, let's see. So we're here today because we're having a panel, particularly on the theme of Black Cat Conjure for Halloween and Samhain. So I am less of a specialist of this than a lot of our panel, all of our panel members probably. So we're here to talk a little bit about the theme. We can go around in the same order, maybe, if you want to, each say a minute or so, but then let it just be a dialogue. It's great for you all just to share about the theme in whatever way you were so moved. So we'll do this for a few minutes and then we'll be going to questions. I'll put the information in the chat again if you'd like to ask a question of the panel. It's a small price, sliding scale, and we will jump in and ask your question. So we request that you pay first. Let me know you are paid. We'll get you in line and I'll be calling you in order. Yeah, we've been doing Facebook Live here, so I'm going to be turning off the Facebook Live. Thanks everyone for doing Facebook with us. We don't usually do this on Facebook while we're starting the panel anymore, but thanks for working with us on this. All right, great. So I'll get that off. And yeah, so let's see. So how did we start off? I think it was Susy and then Henry and then Lisa and then Thorne. So we can play with that order again. What is the meaning of the theme for you? Why do a theme on this? Anything you want to say connected to this theme of Black Cat Conjure for Halloween and Samhain? Anything related? Go ahead.
Thanks, Laureli. I don't think this is really as jumbled a topic for me as it has been. I mean, thanks to the people I know and work with, I am more out of whatever closet there is, whether it's a psychic closet. Welcome out, Viana. And Laureli and I have been talking about another panel in which we do talk about coming out of the closet. So I'm more out of the broom closet than I have been. And coming back to our podcast, I want to normalize this stuff. that magic is something that we do every day. Energy work is something that we do every day. It's not always so, oh, what was it, Lisa? Ooh. And it's not spooky. This is what we do. And magic comes to us in just a number of ways, whether it's just knowing that somebody makes me happy when I see them online, or when I see somebody walking along. We can shift that and exhibit and practice our magic that way. I'm not one of those who has the potions and does all the sigils and stuff like that. I work the way I do, just being in the magic. So yeah, that's my contribution to this. Let's break it down and make it regular, make it normal, not make it unusual. Thanks.
Thanks, Susie. Go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, so I feel a connection with all things Celtic, I guess, through my grandfather on my mother's side, who was from Ireland, and so was from the British Isles. And I'm from Germany, so there's a lot of Druidism and what we think of as paganism there. And then also I see myself as an panpsychist. So I believe that all of life is conscious and self-aware and divinely connected with each other and lovingly engaged in this life, regardless of how divisive we are experiencing our human sphere right now. And so I love honoring all the different kinds of festivals and recognitions of this larger world and this larger story within which the human story unfolds. And so Samhain is one of these times where the veil thins perhaps a little bit. Magic, I believe, is a much greater and much truer reality than most realities that we engage in. And I think only science, which is observational, is as real as magic. Personally, that's my belief. And I see myself as a hedge witch, so as someone who straddles the two worlds. So there's probably many, many different kinds of worlds. The ones I straddle is this one here that we're talking in, and then the divine world where everything is one and everything is connected. And like I said, I believe there are many different layers, and for some reason those are the two layers that speak to me most. And I doing the tarot, I feel is like I said before, a gateway to divine reality too. And it's not something that is closed to us, but it's something that we're not used to. And this is a really great opportunity right now to kind of let the magic out, let the wild self out, because I think that magic is really wild and really untamed and not sort of uncivilized, uncivilized in the sense that it's not restricted according to some norms that were generated. It's like this natural wild thing that's occurring. And I think if we were trees, we would recognize and feel the magic all day long, or whatever non-human beings, the magic just flows through us and brings life, brings things alive. So I'm looking forward today to really engaging with you and your magic, and to perhaps be a conduit to allow your own magic to just blossom or explode or flow forth, depending on what kind of personality you have or what kind of personality your magic has.
Great, thank you, Henry. We have Lisa, and then Thorne, and then I think it was Karen and Natalie and Viana. Lisa.
Great, thank you, Laureli. I echo everything Henry says, so I'm done. No, I'm teasing. Yeah, like Henry, I believe magic is the energy that flows through all of us. I believe living life intentionally, using your intuition, and never gaslighting yourself when you feel something, because that's your innate magic that says, hold on, wait a minute, let's recheck this, right? And so for me, it's about remembering. And in the past 3 years, that's been my journey. And it has been so exciting. being able to leverage my imagination to design my life. If you don't know, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So why not create your own life through this essence we call energy and magic? And it's, just filled with wonderful chaos magic. And so make it your own. I've made my chaos magic my own, and I'm really learning how to wield that power to help others benefit from it, through joy, through making. And like Henry, using the oracle cards to help divine your next right step. So yeah, make life your own, use your intuition, and use your imagination to create your own life. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. I'm going to shrink our spotlight again so Thorne can come up. And are you switching? One moment, okay.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Thorne, and this is my son named Thorne. I use they, them, and he, and I'm excited to be here and discussing the topic of Samhain and Halloween and everything involved with that. So it's one of my favorite holidays, truly, and I think every year there's just different energy that comes up with Halloween. So this year, there's a lot of motivation and looking up, what's going on this weekend and what's up with the energy. So what I love about this whole space and is the magic, obviously, that itself is coming up. And then the veil is very thin. I agree. And I think there's more transparency in that we can see the spirit world. We can see just heritage and ancestors, and there's a lot of that's very strong at this time of year. And also we definitely have different magic showing up in different ways through dream time or energy space, many different things. We can see magic appearing in many different places. Tarot, that's energy work, astrology, anything. And I've noticed that those different mediums that we work with, the energy is more elevated right now. And so at first when I interact with beings, it's cool to see how they move through the flow of energy. So I think recently the eclipse that occurred with the new moon, that was a big energy. So, and there'll be a second one soon occurring in November. There'll be an eclipse. So I think that now it affects the Halloween season overlaid with that, and that is very cool. It's a very powerful space that we are in now. So I think I'm excited to see how we do, and I'm curious to see our authentic experience in playing with this space and the magic that's here. So I'm just looking forward to chatting and the discussion tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I want to take this opportunity also to thank Andrea and Gilly for being here as interpreters. I put a link in the chat. If you're willing to donate and help pay for the interpreters also, that would be really great. We definitely pay our interpreters. And it's important to be able to include us all and reach more and more people. So thanks so much for your possible contributions with that. All right, let's see who's next. I think we have Karen. Okay, great. Karen, and then Natalie, and then Viana. Okay, great.
Hello again. Okay, so this is my favorite time of year. It's always been my favorite time of year since I was little. And I think so much of that is because we kind of put all of the magic and everything that I personally live all year long into the spotlight during this time. And it's celebrated and it's fun to play around with, and it's almost encouraged. And I'm very much a medium, and I love connecting with ancestors and loved ones who've passed on. And I love that we have this time to honor them in unique ways that maybe we don't do during the rest of the year. I wanted to mention the whole black cat part of the title, because black cats were associated once upon a time with the devil and witches. And, it's so interesting to me, that whole history of that. Similar to why the number 13 is seen to be as unlucky, because women who were living these more intuitive lives, you know, women had this power, this healing power, and through history, we've seen like the patriarchy and such really start to take what was representative of women and turn it into things that are unlucky or bad. And so the number 13, for example, is the number of periods a woman typically gets in a year. It's also the number of full moons in a year. So there's a lot to that in terms of just trying to put women's power down. And I see black cats, because they were associated with those scary words, you know, as another form of really trying to disempower the woman or the witch or the healer and all of those who have come before us. Personally, I had in the past used the term witch as an identifier for myself. I feel at this point, I don't, I find it a little more restrictive just because of the general understanding of the word now. As Henry had mentioned, I believe in terms of really, you know, having one foot in each realm, I feel like I traverse so many realms that it's almost doing a disservice to the word witch to continue claiming it. Because I also go into the galactics and things and tie in so many different aspects of reality and magic and dimensionality. But it's so much fun for me this time of year, because I feel like we can bring other people who may not be as in tune with this stuff along for the journey a little bit more, right? With the thinning of the veil and just the idea that this is something that, you know, is kind of more on the forefront of people's minds. And I also feel called to mention, and I'm curious if anyone else has picked this up or would agree with me, but it feels as though the veil is thinning more overall, and that it will continue to thin in the November and May timeframe, but it's almost like it's going to stay thinner than it used to. And it's kind of like becoming more and more of a lighter boundary. And as I say that, I just got goosebumps everywhere. So, all right. Thank you for letting me share.
Thanks so much, Karen. Go ahead, Natalie.
Okay. I thought a lot about the title that she gave this, a black cat conjure. And I thought, well, I wonder what Laureli means by that. This is also, it's my favorite holiday of the whole year. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy sort of being free to be a little more witchy and a little more out there with it, even though I use that term all year. It feels like I'm reclaiming some kind of power from the past with all that. Like I've done this many times before, but I like the fact that this time of the year, the magic, it's like magic and supernatural and this sort of thing. It's just more accepted generally because of Halloween. And I enjoy being a little bolder with it because people think, well, it's just the season. No, that's me all year. I just get a little bolder this time of the year. And Samhain is my favorite holiday. And to me, it's certainly regular people are a little more likely to indulge in a little bit of magic for themselves without really labeling that. But it's the time when, like she said, the veil is thinner. And I think if you're aware, it seems like it is more and more. But the other thing is it's a time for personal transformation and a time to let go of what you personally, professionally, psychically, whatever, physically that needs to be let free, and to do those spells and to do those meditations and to go into, you know, a darker, deeper, quieter place and meditate upon oneself and this sort of thing, because that's to me a lot of what Samhain is about, is personal transformation and letting go of fears. For us and for other people that maybe we're working with, this is probably a good time once they become aware of the energies of this half of the year, the dark half, as I call it, the dark half of the year, and what that represents. And even at Yule, it's a time, really should be a time for some quiet introspection, but this is when it starts. So I like this time of the year for the fact that we can maybe share some of this with the general public a little more. And the black cat part is like, well, they're familiars, their connection to the elemental realm, the spirit realm. They're the carriers of the magical intention sometimes, and they are symbols of superstitions that really just put fear of powerful women and midwives and healers and all this sort of thing into people. They're symbols of that, all that superstition, which was actually fear of their own, the power of the witches and the women healers, and also of the subconscious and the intuitive mind, and the fear of being connected to all that is any way other than through the Christian church. So it's all of that being, we're recognizing all of those symbols, and we're sort of able now to talk to other people about the symbols of Samhain, Halloween, and the black cats. And then Conjure is like, yeah, make your own magic. I mean, this is the time, this is the prime time for it. So that's what I thought when I saw the title and started wondering what exactly the intention was when she chose that. So
thanks so much, Natalie. Viana, anything you would like to share about the title, the theme of this panel?
Well, when I heard the theme, of course, I just found out a couple hours ago that I was going to be on the panel. But when I heard the theme, I decided to go in and ask the she if people could, because the veil is thinner, would it be easier for people to connect with them? And I was told that if you are fully embodied, it's much easier to connect. And that means fully embodied with with your mind being very still. And that's one of the main things that I do, is I teach people how to become fully embodied. It's a type of meditation, fundamental consciousness. And I can help people connect to their ancestors without getting tangled up in them or any of the memories, through being fully embodied through fundamental consciousness realization process. And that's what I have to say for this time. Thank you so much.
Sure, that's great. Thank you. Well, I mentioned in the chat that really our panels are a version of conjuring, right? Of Conjure. I mean, to me, Conjure is maybe there's a consciousness about it, an awareness of it, that one is doing this. It's an intention to me, really, just to connect with spirit and to allow the magic of spirit to do its work. It always is. And it's like a conscious willingness to dance and play with spirit, maybe, is how I think of it. And just a very broad sort of definition for me. I just got a broom, so I like some of the symbols, right? So I just got that when I was at the Northwest Tarot Symposium from one of the practitioners that's been in some of our events, one of our vendors. I love all the different symbols. I just happened to be wearing a whole bunch of like black today, and yeah, Halloween I used to dress up, witch's hat and things like that. I just love how it's so much more a part of our popular culture now, and so much more open, and so many more people are opening to their gifts and sharing their gifts. And there is a lot of transformation happening right now. I appreciate the time of year when the light is changing so much, and the impact that it has on people energetically, and just emotionally, for people knowing that this is happening, and all the other impacts that it has. So the idea of I understand that the veils are thin, and the veil is thin, and then if nothing else, the reminder of this and allowing ourselves to connect more seems important too. Yeah, so those are just some of the little bits and pieces from me. Yeah, and I've always connected with the black cat and all those different kinds of symbols, and I appreciate at least I appreciate so much of my life, maybe the rebelliousness in some ways, how things are different than popular culture. And as it becomes more and more commonplace and more part of the common culture, I wonder how any feelings about that for me or others that have had feelings like that will change. All right. Well, we have at least one person in line today. And I guess practitioners, anyone else wants to say about the theme before we, more will come up as we answer questions. Oh, Thorne does. Okay, Thorne, are you okay if I don't take everyone off the spotlight right now? Is that okay? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Okay. Yeah, just one last little short mention. I'm a big old history nerd, and I love all of the context and history, both conscious and unconscious. Because we don't know a lot. We have a whole lot of information, absolutely. Yes, we know a lot of things, but we know a lot of things about the world that we can see, but the whole other world underneath all of that we can't necessarily see, all of that. And even going back to the Salem witch trials, like all of the missing women who were tortured and disappeared, but not only women, men as well, and bigender and queer people, they were all also involved in those atrocities. And so it's really fascinating to me how history we have the common knowledge of it, but then all of these other perspectives as well. Like the black cat, we always assume that the black cat is associated with, just one moment for the interpreter. Okay, yeah. The black cat is always the familiar of the witch. And it's kind of become like a scapegoat in a lot of ways. But in real life, it's just a bad cat, But it's fascinating to see the different lenses that we view history and our history and everything. And to be very clear, I think black cats are very, very lucky. I love them. And they're just fantastic. But yeah, all of these other symbols, the black hat, the broom, all of these symbols are to be cherished, I think. Like you have these affinities with the space and how you look at them, how you look at these symbols and how you let them relate to your life. I just really think it's really cool. Yeah. That was just all I really wanted to say. Just chatting about that a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you, Thorne. Go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, as I'm listening, I love everything everybody's saying. And that's part of the perks of being involved in these panels. What comes to my mind is I believe that I've incarnated multiple times in my life, and not always as a Western person. And why that matters is because what immediately really stands out to me is how it is certain cultures, like we center what happened to witches, and it's like tens of thousands of women and other genders who were killed in the name of this fright that swept through many countries, especially Germany, and I have some history with that, through my lineage. My mother was a witch, but also as an Indigenous person, the point I'm trying to make is that the story is very, very different. There are many tribes, there are many nations where this is not an issue, where being psychic and speaking to ancestors or ghosts, et cetera, is completely normal. It's just part of life, where this kind of magic with a CK spelled magic is just normal, and where there's not this history of the terror that was visited upon people, and where it is a part of daily life, or even just in Hinduism as well. So it's like goes around the world, and it's like, so it's indigenous people, but it's also different cultures where magic is just a natural part of life, and there's no discussion around it, because it's just we weren't robbed, and we weren't terrified, and we weren't punished for it. So I just wanted to bring that in, that this is one experience that probably most of us share, but that there are also global experiences that are very open and very welcoming and very integrated and natural in terms of magic and in terms of all these kinds of things that kind of fall under that umbrella. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Yes. All right. Well, we have someone in line for a question, so I'm going to take myself off and put that person on. Oh, Ricky, are you ready? You are the first question.
Hi, everyone.
We can't see you all of a sudden.
Oh, let's see if the, hold on. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
I'm from nice and warm Austin, Texas.
One quick thing. One thing I didn't say. I just, if you, for everyone if you ask a question and we go deeper than you want us to go, or we talk about topics you don't want us sharing about here, please give us some idea ahead of time, or jump in and interrupt us and give us guidance so we can honor you. Second thing is, it's a great opportunity for everyone to practice opening to their intuition. You might want to write, scribble, draw as the questions are asked, and see what comes through you, and see if it's in alignment with what the panel shares. Of course, you might have something come through you that is valid that we do not mention. Just confirmation that we're all tapping into the same things. And then also, if you have something come through that you believe is for the person who asked a question, please, if you could hold that until we're done answering their question. And then if you want, private chat them when we're done, and then see if they would like to hear what came through you. And please don't take it personally if they're full and they don't want to hear what came through you. Please trust that it came through for another reason. Thank you so much. And Ricky, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Laureli. I met Laureli in the Portland, Oregon area, where I had lived there for 8 years, but due to COVID, I ended up in Austin, Texas, restarting my life. So there's so many things that were talked about tonight. I almost don't know what to ask. But maybe I'll start off with
and maybe just I'll say to you, you can ask a question on anything. It doesn't have to do with the theme. It can be anything. We just have this theme in common, and we might answer more in terms of the theme.
Sure. Well, I do want to say something really amazing. So, okay, Texas, that's a whole nother topic. But Austin, I love Austin. And this weekend is the Dia de Muertos festival in San Antonio. It is insane, incredible, beautiful, and I'm thankful that I get to go there and with my Latino heritage of honoring my ancestors who have passed, and in general, our ancestors. So for me, it's been very affirming. So as far as the question goes, gosh, a couple questions kind of came to mind. But, well, let me see which one I want to ask. Okay, I guess a suggestion that has been made to me is that it would be a benefit for me to be more vulnerable. I have a really hard time in my intimate relationship sometimes being vulnerable. It's really been a struggle for me. So I guess my question is, any thoughts or tips on that?
Okay, great. Lovely question. All right, practitioners, when you feel ready to answer, raise your hand in Zoom and I'll know you're ready. And then you all have about 2.5 minutes. You each have about 2.5 minutes to answer. Yeah, I know people need time to check in. Great.
Oh.
All right, Henry is ready. All right, go ahead, Henry.
That's a really great question, how to be more vulnerable. So I think here's an illustration that might connect with this. So it's kind of like how to breathe more deeply. it's a question as if you were, parallel. So you're already breathing, and then you might not be breathing like as deeply as you could. But the key point is, I'm saying breathing, and I take a deep breath. The key point is you are already breathing. So you already have vulnerability. Like, for example, you asking this question right now on this panel, right, Susy? That right there is an example of your vulnerability. So then the question becomes not so much how to be more vulnerable, but to look at what's in the way of being vulnerable, because you're born vulnerable. I mean, think about a baby who could be more vulnerable than that. And so we're there, and then stuff happens. We're told how to be and how not to be. And so now then we have to kind of like pull in. I always imagine like a little snail with its little antlers. And when you touch these antlers, the little, they just get pulled in. And we're all a little bit like that, pulling our antlers in so that we don't get punished for being ourselves. This is called the civilizing process. So we can all get along, because I guess if everybody let it hang out, there's this prevailing idea that then we can't make this work. But I think that's actually completely false. And there are other things at work why this has become part of our Western society, at least, that we have to control ourselves so much. So now there's a tremendous risk for you, because when you're not vulnerable all the time, you don't know when it's good and when it's not good. And how much of that is just being authentic, and how much of that is bearing yourself and making yourself a target. So probably the biggest reason why you're not all that vulnerable is because it puts a target on your back. And you don't know whether you can trust the other person not to hit that target. Or there can be other reasons, right? Okay, great. There can be other reasons also. So there's like just many reasons. I recommend Brené Brown's work. She has a TED Talk. So and she has a Netflix special. So these are just, she's a vulnerability researcher. Boom, right? Bullseye right there. This is what you're looking for. So it's a process. If you go to the gym and you work out, you know for a fact that you're going to be sore. And you don't mind, because this is just part of how it is. And so when you become vulnerable, for a fact, there'll be mishaps. For a fact, there'll be people overstepping your boundaries here and there. And that's something that to embrace. Just like you embrace, like if my muscles hurt, I know that I did it well at the gym. So if you feel this kind of vulnerability hangover, then you know you've done it right. And so it's a whole process of developing, of consciously and intentionally taking those risks of being vulnerable. And there's more to it. And I had something that came to me, but for some reason it came to me and then it went back out. So if I remember it, I will connect with you about it. So all in all, it's a matter of practice. It is a practice. It is a spiritual practice to be vulnerable. And you start small. Boundaries. That was the thing. The more you become vulnerable, the more you have to get versed in setting boundaries, and not hard lines in the sand, not wall, but boundaries, which all that means is being willing to tell someone when they've crossed your boundary, and sort of, without making a big federal case out of it. It's just like, hey, you crossed my boundary, step back. Thank you. Like that. So thanks, that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, thanks, Henry. Let's see. So we've got many practitioners in line to answer. And if everyone can help me keep time, so keep your answers to about 2.5 minutes. I'm not on screen, so I can't use my little rock. We've got Susy, Karen, Thorne, and Viana in line right now. So Susy's next.
Okay, thanks, Laureli. Hey, Ricky, I'm from Fort Worth, so I know about Texas. I know about Austin, and that's where we'll leave it. And I also want to talk to Henry about reading my notes before I get them out of my head, because they hit on so many of the points. You are being vulnerable with us. That's important, to find that group of people, or at least one person you can start to peek out with. But I also want to ask you, what does being vulnerable mean to you? Because it's not being weak. For me, it's being open and allowing somebody to see you for who you are. And it actually does take a level of strength to be able to be that open. Let's say yeah, Henry said practice. Yep, that's it. I also want to remind you, though, that not every interaction is going to be catastrophic. Okay, taking whatever victories you have when you get them, like, oh, you came here on the panel and you asked the question. I see that as a victory because you are beginning to open up to this. You're finding people, you're making this connection here. Looking in, diving into your energy, if I may. There have been instances when it was used against you. Whether it was in this life, okay, yeah, I'm getting a nod, so I'm saying it's in this life, but you also have past lives in which that vulnerability was abused, was used against you. And so this lesson that you're learning now, the lesson that you were deriving from these past lives and from your inner children, I see that you can do some inner children work and help them feel safe, whether you do it in meditation or, just daydreaming and you see that inner child who feels scared. Let it know it's safe with you and they can talk to you and express all of the things, and that you are the one who will take them and accept them for who they are. That's the important thing about vulnerability, is being who you are and somebody accepts you that way. And yeah, you've got it here, and work on those inner children too. So I wish you the best of luck, and yes, come and hang with us as much as you want. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Susie. And next we have Karen.
So Susie, you stole all of my notes, or a lot of them anyway. Okay. So first I wanted to say vulnerability requires a lot of self-trust and knowing that you're going to be okay no matter what. So it's really about understanding that each and every one of us is an infinite being that is residing within our human being right now. So no matter what comes up, no matter what someone says, your infinite being is okay no matter what, and to trust yourself to carry yourself through. So I was picking up on wounded child. And a lot of it feels very Akashic, and it feels like there is a cycle of this being held in your field. And it also feels like you have actually made an oath or a vow to yourself to keep yourself from getting too vulnerable. So even if you're setting the intention to do so in this lifetime, it's almost like the stumbling block because you're holding this idea of, I will not put myself in this position of being through this again, that you're holding in your Akashics. So Susie had some wonderful recommendations for healing the inner child and really looking at the past lives. I would add in journaling, and literally, like, you can go into a meditation, ask to see the oaths that you've placed and tear them up or just cancel them. Just take that out of your existence and out of your Akashics at this point, because it's not serving you and it's coming from a place of wounding and not of your whole soul as something you wanted in your field. And empowering self was a theme that I kept coming back to as well. And so I also have a book recommendation for you. It's called The Celestine Prophecy. It's from like the 90s. I probably read it 12 times now. But there's a lot of wonderful keys in that book. And interaction. There's a lot of important lessons on interacting with not only self, but others. And that feels particularly relevant for you as well. So high five on the vulnerability, on coming in and putting this in a public forum. Okay. High five. That's all
Great.
I have.
Thanks so much, Karen. Okay, great. So we've got Thorne up next.
All right, great. Okay, so first thing I want to say is that I've noticed that, wow, you took a risk becoming open with us and vulnerable with us on the panel. So that was a first success. That's a first step. Good for you. And then secondly, Henry mentioned renewal and just, you know, being transparent and and Brene Brown's work, I'm sorry, for just how to work with the emotional, you know, just everything. That's amazing work. And then also, it's fascinating because I just finished reading a few times. There's a book all about love by Bell Hooks. Do you know that book? Bell Hooks is the author. Okay, great. Because that book, I would recommend that. It's the best book. And they're talking about different ways to love. And for any kind of relationship that includes any type of intimacy, it can be emotional intimacy or energetic intimacy or just love or whatever, any type of intimacy or love. It even requires vulnerability to be there. So I love Bell Hooks and her philosophy that love is a verb. Love is an action. And also saying, you know, what she says in that book is that there's this boundary, and it's not something that waves people away. It brings people in and allows another person a place to join in the conversation with you. So I feel that for you, you know, everything, you got to make everything a safe space for you first, and then you can be vulnerable with that relationship and how you feel. So if you make a safe space first, then you can be open. So I think you know, that could help you be successful in opening up for both people to be able to show up there and be present with each other. And I think self-regulation is a thing, and co-regulation is a thing. And also just relationship in general and regulation there. It's important to think about that. Each has a different kind of energy, each of those, and how to join in together with all three. And it can lead to more vulnerability. So that would be beautiful. And so I hope that offers some good insight for you and some more thoughts. If you have any questions for us, just let us know. And thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you. Thank you, and good luck. All right, blessings.
Thanks so much, Thorne. We've got Viana up next. Viana, let's get you unmuted.
Oh, that will always help. My question to you is, have you had dialogue with the part of you that's feeling very vulnerable? I know what I do is help people and also myself to be a parent, a loving parent to the part of me that's vulnerable, and it's usually the kid self. And excuse me. So I was just wondering if you had really, if you have really had that conversation with yourself, or have you had help? Because most of us have not had the parent to teach us how to be loving and be a really loving, unconditional loving parent to ourselves. And so it's something we've had to learn over the years. And so be really gentle with yourself and just take the time and have the conversation. I'm constantly, whenever a part of me gets really scared or vulnerable, then I sit down and say, okay, we need to have a conversation. Please tell me what it is that you're scared about, and I will listen. And it's amazing how that really helps, because our kid isn't used to being listened to. So I suggest that you really take the time to listen and, say, oh, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry you're scared. It's okay. You know how you do when you talk to a kid. So thank you for being vulnerable with us.
Thank you so much, Viana. All right, we've got Lisa next.
Hey, good evening, Ricky. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I echo what everybody here says. It takes courage to ask a question, and like the most vulnerable question of all, right? So what's interesting is that my guides were telling me to consider taking one tiny micro step at a time to test. And this speaks to the product developer in me, the test and iterate. The one thing about vulnerability is that it doesn't have to be about sharing your wounds to the world. It can be about sharing joy and happiness. So maybe start there. Maybe it's about sharing with one person at a time, one step at a time, and then come home, journal, and assess how that made you feel. Really lean into how that made you feel, and then take the advice of Viana and the rest of them and figure out, okay, how can I get more of this? What does this look like? What does this feel like? Go through, maybe inviting somebody to share dinner or a concert or a hobby. Those are moments that you can start to let your hair down when you are doing something you love. I mean, it's not like you're being interrogated by a examining attorney, or you're not bearing your bum to the doctor. It's just the ability to say, hey, this is me. I love, this musician. Do you want to listen to some music together? Or they just came out with a new album. What did you think of it? That in itself can be that toe in to kind of share that vulnerability without exposing all of your wounds. That comes later. And so test with one person, one step at a time, and then go to another person and another person. And then you can start to really feel into what makes you feel good and how receptive they were throughout those tiny little micro steps. Does that make sense? Good. Yeah, you bet. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It took a tremendous amount of courage, and I wish you well. I know you're going to do fantastic.
Great. And Thorne says something in the chat I want to say. Self-regulation, co-regulation, relationship regulation, and community regulation and co-regulation is applicable in all forms of intimacy and dynamics. Yeah. And Susie's got something. Let's see, Susy and Karen both have something more to share. I've got a little bit more to share too. Go ahead, Susy.
And Ricky, be patient with yourself. We're talking about micro, Lisa was talking about micro steps, and sometimes it's just not fast enough. Cut yourself some slack and let it flow. You got this. That's what I got. Thanks.
And Karen.
So Laureli, I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder here, but you are the inspiration behind what I'm about to say, because you're holding this beautiful little kitten and it kept catching my eye over and over again. I don't know if you have a pet, or if that's something that has ever entered into your mind, but having that kind of relationship where they kind of see you at your worst, right? Because they're with you by your side. And they can also teach you about being vulnerable, because if you have like this beautiful cat, I mean, like they are so incredibly healing, but you're also like doing things for them, right? They rely on you. And there's this beautiful relationship where they gift you. Okay, perfect. So maybe following his lead and just, you follow him around, you got to pick up his poop, right? So there's some intimate moments that are shared between pets and the human partner there. And, you know, maybe there's just some lessons in there if you just bring that awareness to your relationship with the pets and with the animals around us, because they really have, I feel like they have vulnerability down quite a bit more than humanity does as a whole at the moment.
Great, thank you. Oh, Henry's got a little bit more. Henry, go ahead. I'll share after.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so I want to build on something Viana said. I believe I heard it in the background. The talking to yourself. I call this, it sounds like that was like out of my manual. I call it sweet talking. So you can start in the privacy of your own experience with yourself, because you may notice a few things. Like, let's, for example, if you lay down on your back and you spread your arms out and have your arms up so that your underarms are exposed. This is a vulnerability pose that may even feel uncomfortable when you do it by yourself. So you may notice that there's flight forward where like, yeah, I can do that, but you're not actually relaxed. And then if you let yourself relax, you may ease yourself into it and you start going through the different states that you go through when you allow yourself to become vulnerable, because not being vulnerable is also kind of pulling your body in. So that's one thing, one way that you can do it. Another way is to pet yourself, like kiss yourself and go, I love you. Have it like this very soft, sweet tone, like, I love you, Ricky, and hold yourself. So basically reparenting yourself with this vulnerability. That's a literal practice. You build neural networks. So it's not just an experience that comes and goes, but it's an experience that transforms you. And as you do it more and more, it transforms you more and more. And as you do it more and more, it sticks more and is more lasting. And then lastly, you can also go out into nature and pick some plant beings, a tree, a shrub, whatever, whoever speaks to you. You can even, if you have a garden or a park or something, you can just go and say, hello, here I am. Is anybody here would like to be on this journey with me, have a relationship with me as I move into being more vulnerable? And then this may speak to you, like I do this with trees, because trees are very, very old, very, very low, slow vibration, very long view, tremendous wisdom. So I highly recommend developing a relationship with them where you dialogue with each other.
All right, great. Thanks, Henry. So a little bit I'll share. I appreciate everyone's suggestions. And yeah, I was totally thinking about my kitten. Didn't know exactly what I'd say. I love Brene Brown, and she totally brings up the point that we need to be vulnerable in order to take risks. We need to be able to risk failure so that we can have all those successes. She shares it in a different language, but it's, yeah, so important. Like one of her first videos that got really popular was about that. One of her first TED Talks, I guess. So I would start off by rating for yourself, and you can like show us on the screen right now if you want to, but whatever way rating for yourself, like you can do a 0 to 10 scale of like how safe you feel in any moment, right? So how willing to be vulnerable you are in any moment, which I connect to safety. So getting more consciously aware of how safe you do and don't feel in each moment. And then, so like an invitation would be for you to say, and just to play with how you feel as you say it, I'm absolutely safe. And I know you. So you also want to rate yourself on how much you're BSing when you say it. When you like, I think you're used to being social and in front of people. And so you might be able to, in like more of a salesy way, be able to say like, oh yeah, I feel absolutely safe, but you can know that you're BSing yourself, right? So you want to be able to just rate that and keep that internal. You don't have to share it with people, but just so that you can get more aware of where you are, right? So I think part of the shift and the change is to know where you are now. And then other people refer to this too. I think practice and small steps, taking risks that feel small enough that you can do them. And then knowing examples of content that you can share that is risky. There were some great questions that someone was suggesting. Like I have examples of like first date kinds of questions. Yeah, like what are things you can ask other people and just get in more of a dialogue back and forth with people. And then things like feelings, sharing your feelings. So knowing a map of like what feelings are and that you could share. Fears and desires. And you can share itty bitty tiny ones at first when they, you know, they feel too big. So yeah, rate how deep of a risk it is, and also celebrate. Someone else said something here just 1 or 2 people ago that celebrating any progress you make, really celebrating as much as you can let yourself, because that's let yourself feeling joy more deeply. Oh, I need to change up my interpreters. Hold on 1 moment. I'm going to push someone else off screen for a moment. Anyone, whenever the interpreters have mixed, if you could please let me know. All right, there we go. Yeah, so celebrating, because celebrating is a way of integrating and embodying your progress so that you continue to make more steps. What did I say? Yeah. So start with people that are really safe for you and let them know that you're leaning into this in a new way, and ask them to be gentle with you. And then as you feel safe with them, ask for how they feel impacted by your share. And again, start with safe people and ask them to be gentle. Chances are, if your heart is touched by how they are impacted, so do a good job in choosing other people that are willing to be vulnerable when you're practicing with them. Yeah, just your heart is touched, it might empower you, encourage you to share more. And then things like authentic relating are really great ways to practice in a community of other people that are also interested in doing this. It's all about being authentic and real and vulnerable with each other and building connections as a result. All right, great. So those are some things. Anything else for Ricky? Anyone else? All right, great. Thank you so much, Ricky, for jumping. And Ricky, is there anything you want to share? Just response to all of us, or?
I want to thank you all so much. I think all of these are really good tips, and I just need practice, and, you know, to meditate on things and release any contracts that I may have had in the past, for sure. Because I just feel like it's a big, heavyweight burden that I carry, and it affects my relationships. So I want to really do something about it. Thank you. Those are really helpful tips from everyone. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Thank you so much. And I'm going to be at my high-speed internet here tomorrow, so I should get this video uploaded really fast if you want to go back and watch the answers again. Just look for us MeWe Fairs on YouTube. All right. Well, I don't know if we have anyone else in line. Oh, let's get Natalie up here too. Natalie, back up here. We got a couple other people joining. And of course, my kitten has a few things to say. This is maybe my temporary kitten. Maybe it's going to be my kitten. We don't know. My friend from Denver is coming to pick up her kitten is the plan. All righty. Let's see if you want to ask a question of the panel, we would love to hear from you. You can ask a question on anything. You got a demonstration of the kinds of answers that we can give. Really deep, thorough, rich answers. Very broad, and it's great to hear from so many people. I think you get lots of rich feedback, even though it's a short period of time. So if you'd like to ask a question of the panel, please, we request that you pay ahead. If you know you want to ask to keep us going, we could probably leap you in right now, and then please pay after. And yes, sweetie, what's going on? Yeah, let me just double check again. If you paid to ask a question and I have not noticed, please, oh, someone else paid, I think. Please let me know in the chat. Oh, we got a tip maybe, or contribution for the interpreters. Thank you so very much. That's what that was for. So yes, if you'd like to contribute to the interpreters, we would definitely appreciate that as well. And let me see if someone else has paid to ask a question. You can see I'm all juggling and multitasking just a little bit differently today than I usually do. Oh, my PayPal is being grumpy. All right. I'm so glad my technology is working better. We actually don't have a question at the moment. So while we're waiting for a question, yeah, the cat's amazing, isn't it? And this is Winston or Winnie. And yeah, see if anyone else. So if you want to ask a question, please let me know in the chat. And then practitioners, we get to ask a question at the panel while we're waiting to see if someone wants to jump in and ask a question. So does anyone on the panel or any of our interpreters have a question of the panel? And oh, someone just paid for, oh, question 2. All right, we'll take it. right, I'm going to move me off of the spotlight and bring Ricky back up. This is great. All right. Question 2.
So it's about my pets. So I have 2 pets. And here's my big golden retriever. He's kind of lazy. He's 2.5 years old. And then I got another one. We just got her maybe a few months ago. The little tiny Maltipoo way over there in the couch. I guess my question is, anything any messages or ways to improve communication with my pet, or anything I should know to have a better relationship with my pets besides giving them treats?
And I know it's later where you are. Is it common that they're tired right now? Like this time of day?
It's 2 hours ahead from you.
So they just be tired and sleepy now?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, let's see what time it is. It's 9. I mean, it's an apartment. They go through their bouts of playing with each other, high energy, but I took them for a walk earlier. A few walks.
Great. Just checking. All right, great. We've got Lisa and then Henry. So go ahead, Lisa.
Hey, Ricky, welcome back. All right. So the first thing I got right off the bat, and I'm going to ask you this rather than just tell you, are you paying attention to the hierarchy of the pack?
Well, that's a good question. Since the little one is a new dog, I don't know. I mean, the big dog was the number 1 dog, only dog with me for 2 years until I brought the little one in.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. I don't know about that.
Okay. So here's what I would recommend. Whenever it's time to dole out treats or do anything with the dogs, always make sure that your golden is treated first.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So what's your golden's name?
Mambo.
Okay. Mambo gets first treat, right? And then little Maltese gets the second treat. Keep that in order. Because remember, you're alpha dog.
Yes.
You're alpha. And then
it doesn't feel that way though, because lately Mambo, he's stops dead in his track and I have to do what he wants. I hate to admit that.
So have you taken dog training lessons? Actually, they're human training lessons is what they really are.
They are. I was just thinking about that I need to start it because it's just, I'm struggling.
Okay. So that's going to really help out and it's going to iron out all those wrinkles. When you establish that hierarchy, then you're going to have a wonderful relationship. And Mambo, I'm not sure what time it is there, but I think that you're going to see a little more interactivity between Mambo and the new family member.
It's 9 o'clock over here. It's 2 hours ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's what I got immediately is just kind of assess the hierarchy. And if that means going to human training, dog training classes, so that you can understand how to assert yourself as alpha dog and then treat your pack in kind, you're going to have a beautiful family. You already do, but it's just going to iron out all those wrinkles.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.
Right. One thing I want to jump in and mention is the New York dog nanny, who's one of our other practitioners, was out here in Seattle just a few days before Elote died. And she and I met and talked about Elote. And I thought he was following me around everywhere because he was so attached to me. But it turned out that he thought he was alpha and he had to protect me. So he had to follow me all the place. So what she suggested, and I started doing this right before he passed, is that I have to eat first. So whether I really eat first or I pretend to eat first. So you should give yourself one of the treats, hold it by your mouth, pretend you're eating it. It is absolutely delicious. And do that first before you give it to your other dog too, or at least certainly before you give it. Maybe you could give it to the dog that you want to have be, more alpha-ish and feel more comfortable about it. And then give yourself one absolutely delicious and then give it to the new dog if that's the one that's thinking that they're the boss. And then the same thing when you feed them. So you want to make it seem like you're eating first. and then go very slowly over to where they are going to get the food. And if they jump up or jump in your way or anything, you walk backwards. And so it's not until they stay calm that you walk forwards and slowly lower the dish and then give it to them. And that's how they learn that you're alpha over them. So, all right, there's some tips from the New York Dog Nanny.
Those are excellent tips. And you know what I realized is that I was feeding the little one first. I wasn't eating, and then feeding the big one last. So I now I'm going to reverse the order. Thanks, Lisa and Lorelei.
Great. All right. So we've got, let's see, Henry, and then Thorne, and then Viana.
Lorelei, can I share the screen?
Yep, go ahead now.
Okay, great. Okay, so
Henry, just ahead of time, just keep it really short because we have to be able to see the interpreters. So
yeah, and
give us a
yeah,
time and then
that's
come
great. How about if I describe what's on the screen? What would that help too?
Well, I'd say show it briefly. Don't talk for just keep it up there for a few seconds, and then stop sharing, and then keep talking, and you can go back to share it again. But you just don't want to be talking while it's up there.
I see. Okay, I got you. I understand now. Okay, so Ricky, before I share it, I mixed my deck, shuffled my deck while you were asking that question, and I pulled one card.
I'm gonna say this is a deck that Henry has made.
Yeah, that's my own deck, and it's the only card like it. And it's kind of funny that that's what I pulled. Do you see this card?
No. Let's see, not yet. Oh yes, oh my God, Divine Present. It's a Chihuahua. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So Henry, you just gotta don't talk while it's up. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. So it immediately made sense to me. So my little Maltese Annabelle passed away a few months ago. She was almost 18. And the big lesson that her and Kiki, my little poodle who passed away last year, also old, taught me was that they are souls. They're not dogs. Now, I know we talked quite a bit here on the panel of, how to encounter them in the incarnation as dog. And nothing wrong with that. That's they incarnated as dogs to be incarnated as dogs. So that's certainly part of the experience for you to have with them and for them to have with themselves and with you. And also they're divine beings, they're divine souls that, at least in the way I understand it, that chose to manifest as dogs and have this relationship with you. And so it's great to kind of hold the cognitive dissonance of like, yes, dog, but also just like spirit. Dog, but also spirit. Okay, spirit, but also dog. So we want to take care of both. And especially with the Maltese, I don't have anything for your sand-colored dog, but I have something for the Maltese, which is that they're very, very self-aware and self-possessed. And I think a great opportunity for you here is to obviously have a certain amount of discipline, make sure that they show up in your life the way is appropriate, like setting boundaries like you would with humans. You don't want them to jump all over you, then you tell a human to get off of you, and you do the same with them. But I think the big invitation whenever you have a pet, and that was my experience, whenever you have a non-human pet, is to recognize their sovereignty and their agency. And this is what we often don't see, that their sovereignty and agency. They are individuals and they're beings independently of us. And they have their own unique experience, and they have their own purpose here and their own journey. And it's a wonderful opportunity for you to discover how you can support that journey, how you can participate in that journey, and how you can honor it, how you can help them have the experience that they came to have, or that your Maltese came to have.
Thank you.
I'll stop there.
Thanks, Henry. All right. Thorne is up next, so I'm going to move a bunch of us off of Spotlight. And interpreters, maybe I'll ask, when you switch, if you could give me a verbal signal, that would really help me too.
Okay, we'll do our best. Okay, so I have a couple of things. Talking about boundaries. Boundaries are really important for animals to recognize. They need to recognize your boundaries and where those boundaries happen and how you communicate them. But the dogs themselves will also have boundaries. You know, they can't talk, but they can show you their boundaries. So when both dogs are around each other, notice how they interact. And they will show each other their boundaries. You know, you'll be able to notice it. And it's important to keep that in mind. While figuring out that hierarchy, you know, dogs have their own roles and they will show each other who's boss, you know, who is taking on the alpha role, and you'll be able to see that. And this weekend is Halloween, right? So there's a lot of different energies floating around out there. And dogs are fairly sensitive. They will notice a shift in energy. And they may be trying to tell you something. Maybe they'll act just a little bit different at home. Or maybe when you're out on a walk, they might be a little more aware of things around them. And I want to suggest that you not punish them for that, but to just notice and to see what they're going after. So maybe they notice something off that they're trying to alert you to by barking or going after or something. You know, that's their way of expressing boundaries, but with just a different mode of expression. And once you're able to see those boundaries and recognize and respect them, that gives a much easier way of moving forward. And it gives you better tools for what's going on in that hierarchy. I hope those little tidbits help.
Great, thanks so much, Thorne. Viana's next. Oh, let's get you unmuted. You're still muted.
This is the interpreter. It's time to switch.
There we go.
Okay, Viana, go ahead.
Hi, Ricky. Remind me the name of your older dog, the one that you had first.
Mambo.
Mambo. So I was did you ask, you may have done this, but did you ask Mambo if it was all right to bring in, what's the other dog's name?
The other dog's name is Luna.
Luna?
Luna is the second, and sometimes we call her Lunatic.
Lunatic. So did you ask Mambo if it was okay to bring Luna into the family?
You know, I didn't, but I had always wanted to have two dogs. That was my intention when I got Mambo. But it just turned out that he was the last of the litter. And I thought it would be good company for him, you know, and it ended up that my sister needed to rehome her dog because of her special needs child. It did not work. And so since I already knew Luna through the family, I thought it would make sense to bring her in.
So
I didn't ask Mambo.
You didn't ask Mambo. I mean, for future, if you want your animals to get along, it's best to engage the animal that you have in the selection process. But since you didn't do that, it's really important to apologize to Mambo for not asking him first.
Okay, I can definitely do that.
Yeah, just really say, I'm really sorry I didn't ask you, just to acknowledge that you didn't, you didn't consider his feelings.
Thank you. That's a very good point. I'll definitely do that. And I've been trying to give him a little bit more attention because obviously now that there's 2 dogs, it's not as much as before.
So was Luna really happy to be into the family, to come into the family?
That's a good question. I mean, she likes me a lot. We have a lot of fun. She has I think a better life than she did before with the 2 boys, because 2 young kids.
Well, does she seem to be happy?
Oh yeah, she is happy, very, very happy. Yes.
Okay, so it's just mainly with Mambo.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
That's what you need to do.
I will. Mambo, I'm so sorry.
Let me get down there and take your time and communicate. And when you're communicating with animals, it's not so much the words, it's the pictures that you use, because they're very telepathic. They may not know the words, but they go by the pictures. So, you can use your images or your telepathic thoughts to convey, but they'll get it. He'll get it.
Thank you.
He'll get it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Viana. We've got Natalie next. Natalie, let's get you unmuted.
Okay, there we go. I think you're fortunate that Mambo is really easygoing and is kind of tolerating in a fine sort of way. Let me put it that way. I think now, if I'm not mistaken, it robs a little bit of his energy, but he's real good at tolerating little Luna, who I think is a little more active and would be the alpha dog given half the opportunity.
Yeah.
But with you, yeah, you're supposed to be like everyone said, the leader. The card I picked was the King of Wands, which is the creative, dynamic, but very loving leader of the family. You are to provide discipline, organization, and stability so the dogs feel safe and establish who's who, like everybody else said. And all will be well. That's it. But that was the one thing I had about Mambo is you're lucky he's tolerant, because he could have really pitched a fit, and he's just not that way at all, luckily. And the other one, you know what, Mambo, in fact, probably a calming influence. If you'd have had another little crazy little yappy dog or something, another dog that was very angry, it would have been trouble. So that worked in your favor. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, Natalie. Anyone have anything else for Ricky about relationship and communication with her 2 dogs? Well, let's get Karen back up here too. Lisa, you had something else?
Sure, just quickly. A lot of really great information came at you, Ricky. So just know that you're not the only pet owner who has adopted an animal without the consent of the other animals. It will all work out. My next recommendation would be to, when you learn this through human training sessions, to work with your dogs and play with your dogs each for 15 minutes. So work for 15 minutes and play for 15 minutes together and separately. So that way they both feel like they've got one-on-one time with mom, right? So that's going to help you build a stronger bond with your pet friends. And somebody mentioned earlier about the dogs investigating things going on around them. In your human training class, you may also learn the command, leave it. This is something I share with all women. And that is when a woman decides to adopt a dog because she wants to feel safe. One of the first commands is to stop and sit. And the second one should be leave it, because you don't want your dog just gobbling up a piece of meat that somebody threw down. It could be laced with poison. Okay. So keep that in mind. And it's also really great when, you're walking down a neighborhood and a cat comes out, right? When you say leave it, the cat's going to be safe and the dog's not going to charge after them. I was going to mention something about a little supernatural. And I can't remember what it was now. But yeah, dogs are very sensitive to energies and things that go bump in the night. So, this is what I wanted to say. Are you a thrifter? Do you like to go to consignment shops and things like that to go shopping?
I enjoy it when I do it. I haven't done it in a while, but I definitely have fun.
Okay. All right. So what I would be mindful of is if and when you bring anything into the home, if your dogs start to go a little nuts, make sure you sage it, right? And clear it of any energies. I don't want anything to happen to you and your dog should you bring in a piece of furniture or something that has something invisible attached to it. So if the dog starts scratching at something, instead of wondering, why are you scratching my credenza? Stop scratching my furniture. The dog is trying to share something with you. Something's wrong with a piece of furniture or whatever it is. So at which point it's like, thank you, Mambo. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I've got this now.
I love that tip. That's great.
So best of luck. You're going to have a great family after you get all the little tiny kinks worked out.
Thank you.
Okay. And one more thing that just occurred to me too. Where do you all sleep? Do you sleep together?
So I went away for 6 days and then all of a sudden Mambo has to sleep on my bed. And then Luna, I didn't want Luna on the bed. So Luna was sleeping in the living room until she would bark and bark and bark at 7 a.m. Then I would let her come in the bedroom for a little bit. I was trying to not have any of them sleep on my bed because, even though, because sometimes they get into, brush and pick up a flea or something, and it hurts when it bites me. That's the reason. And also Luna, she might chew on something. I just want to get good sleep. Mambo, I could sleep really well. He's great. But yeah, for now, Mambo's sleeping with me and Luna's in the living room.
Okay, great. I also just was thinking about you and dating and bringing other people into your life and how to do that.
That was another reason why I don't want dogs on my bed is because I just want to be able to, again, get really good sleep. Number 2, not get bit by things because I'm really allergic to flea bites. It's awful. And 3, yes, I want to have a good dating life. I don't have one yet, but soon. I'm trying to create that energy and vulnerability.
That's great. So I just have the dialogue with them now that you're planning on bringing other beings into the community. And it could be other beings that have other animals and all this, right? So that they know that the circle is enlarging so they don't get so set that it's only this size.
Okay, I'll talk to them about it.
Great. All right. Anyone have anything else for Ricky? Ricky, thank you so much. Your questions have been lovely. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It's been amazing. A blessing. Thank you.
All right, great. We have opportunities for more people to ask questions of the panel. I think we don't have anyone in line. This is so unusual. And we have an extra long panel planned tonight. If we don't need all that time, we don't need all that time. But we have planned that we could be on here until 8:30, which is a little bit longer. Usually this is a very busy panel. Let's see if anyone else has asked any. No one else has jumped in to ask. I'm going to put the information in the chat again. It is great value if you want to ask a question of the panel. It is sliding scale. You can ask a question on anything, as you have seen, and we will play with you. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for anyone to ask a question, panelists, if you have a question and you want to ask a question of the panel, feel free. Go ahead and leap in. Oh, Lisa has something to share or ask. Go ahead.
I'd like to ask the panelists, since Susy, Kai, and I just launched our Halloween sew-in premiere today, what traditions do you have during this wonderfully wicked supernatural season? I'd love to know.
So what traditions do we have that we just in our own personal lives? Personal life. Can you just say a little bit more about the theme of the podcast? I didn't quite understand from the little bit that you shared. I mean, I get that it's the Halloween podcast, but maybe could you?
It is the Halloween podcast, and we created this podcast because we felt that there were a lot of people coming out, especially the last 3 years, who really wanted to understand more about what it's like to walk down their spiritual path and what kinds of things they get to look forward to. So the first several episodes we're launching will essentially be evergreen topics. And Susy, feel free to jump in anytime, but they're going to be evergreen topics so that, you know, they're questions that everybody has in the very beginning. And really the focus of our podcast is to share with them what's next. When they learn one thing, then what do they do after that? And so what did I write here in the chat? I wrote,
and specifically the Halloween one that you just launched today too.
Yeah, the Halloween one is talking about the Halloween origins and Samhain origins, as well as ancestors and how we honor and venerate our ancestors. And I shared the original story from how jack-o'-lanterns were created, and just also shared a bunch of ghost stories, personal ghost stories that we have all encountered in our life, which we just had a delightful time. So yeah, anything above and beyond would be fun to learn from other people.
Great, thank you. Yes, you said what traditions we have. Oh, Susy wants to share something else. Go ahead, Susy.
Yeah, I just want to jump in a little bit more on the podcast. We all share our interpretations on what goes on. So like Kai was talking about how they throw leis on the water to honor their dead, but their dead are always there. I like the dumb supper, but I also like talking to my ancestors, but that's something I do all the time now. I'm getting better at that. I'm not talking to my dog as much, but talking to the ancestors and just, checking in with them. I also, when I'm eating something, I will leave something on my plate and I'll brush it off into the compost bucket and say, I'm offering this up to the ancestors. And that's a mealtime offering that I do all the time for the ancestors. So that's, when I was talking at the beginning, saying I want to integrate it into my everyday life. This is some of the stuff I do to make my magic, to bring it to the fore for me, since I kept it suppressed for so long. But now I get to do it all the time.
Great, thanks so much. I always love the energy of cemeteries. I appreciate cemeteries are just so beautiful. I'm so curious about the history and the tradition, the headstones that we choose and the way they're spaced and how they're kept. And I love reading the headstones and like what's put on them. I just feel lots of connection with the history when I'm there. And again, having that little rebellious streak, right? I always enjoyed things that freak people out. So maybe that's part of why I enjoyed cemeteries so much, as well as just various ways I was opening, didn't realize long ago. So in lots of cities where I've lived, I've enjoyed exploring and going to different cemeteries. I particularly love the really old ones. And so it just reminds me, I drive by the one that's in North Bend and I haven't gone there yet. So this is a reminder maybe for me now, for the rest of my life, this time of year in particular, go find a new cemetery. I love noticing the old ones in different places where I go. Yeah. And Natalie's got something too. Go ahead.
There we go. Now you ask about what, personally I would do this time of the year. When I was in California, there would always be an art exhibit this time of the year, Day of the Dead. And my friend and I would always do a piece about honoring the ancestors and honoring the transition and the dark time of the year and the friends and loved ones that have passed on. So what I do personally is sort of a sort of a version of an ofrenda, which is printing pictures of everyone I know that has passed and making the Samhain altar and then putting all the pictures around and sitting and having a little dialogue with everyone and, you know, thanking them all for being in my life and just telling them that I miss them and, you know, just a little dialogue with loved ones that have passed, not necessarily ancestors. Some, yes, some are just friends that are gone. So that's a personal thing because this is the time of the year, like I say, when they can probably hear me a little more clearly than at other times. So that's a personal ritual that I usually do.
Great, thanks. Thorne has something to share also.
Okay. Great. So during this time of year, there's a lot of different things I enjoy. I love doing going to the pumpkin patch is one, getting pumpkins and bringing them and setting them up by the door. And you know, different colors in that area and putting colors down, making food related to, you know, apples or squash or root vegetables, those things that are related to this time of year when they're most ubiquitous at that time, those foods. Also ancestral work as well, connected to the all different kinds of ancestors, not only the blood ancestors, no, but also spiritual ancestors, and just different chosen family ancestors, pets, friends who have passed away, all of those, just different kinds of familiars, things like that, and honoring those in those space. And I think those are the things I'm thinking of during the time of year, also altars and different things. Yeah, those are different, just little things I do at this time of year. I didn't realize for the last 3 years it's been COVID, and it's just it's just almost like, you know, I can't do that anymore. It's like one big day. I prefer to have like little chunks throughout the day and year, and it's good to just spread things out into months, a month and a half increments and little increments. And I've noticed that rhythm fits with the flow of this year. So, and what else? Yeah, some kind of things related to community as well. So I'm still figuring that part out for the space. So we'll see how that occurs and what happens there. So also trying to just give myself certain kinds of work to do and gifts, work as a gift, and give my gifts and the gifts from my ancestors and tweak those as gifts. And yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Thorne. Henry?
Yeah, so what I really love doing at this time of year.
It's time for the interpreter to switch. Thank you.
Hello, Gilly. So what I really love doing during this time of year is there's a major thoroughfare close to our house that is lined with trees that make an arbor. And so every year they turn yellow first before any of the other trees. And then they usually turn yellow very quickly and lose the leaves very quickly by the end of September. But you know, we've had it very warm in Seattle because of the fires and that smoke dome. So it's taken a little longer, but nevertheless, I really like to go up and down that street and watch the trees and like see who's doing what. Like some trees always turn faster, some stay greener longer. It's always the same ones, and just appreciating them and kind of ticking down the change and partly observing this family of trees that lives up and down the street, observing how they're changing. And that is sort of the ushering in. And then also leaf watching. So we have a lot of ahorn. I don't remember what that tree is called in English. In German, it's Ahornbaum. So they have these large leaves that are kind of like in 3 sections. You may know them. They're very large. And so we like to, there's these trees that live up the street here, and they just drop their beautiful leaves, and we just look at them, and then there's still a halo of gold on it, on that tree, and we observe all of that, and it kind of ushers it in and tells us, like the visual cues tell us, okay, this is happening and it's time. And I don't turn my heater very high now that the dogs have passed on. We don't have to keep it warm for them. So this year, finally, again, we can keep it cool so that our bodies get used to, because we're in these boxes, but we can do things to mitigate that. And so we work on mitigating that so that our bodies get to understand the changing of the season and the changing of the light, and how all environment just changes. So it's basically taking the bodies to the forest nearby so that our bodies, Stephen and I both, so that our bodies can be part of these changing seasons and allow our bodies to adjust and make these changes with the modern human world. So this is what we do every year. Some years we go to the water too, but forests are really wonderful for ushering in this season, allow the body to become the fall body, and then the winter body, and then the spring body, and the summer body.
Great, thank you, Henry. Anyone else have traditions this time of year they want to share? Yeah, Viana, I appreciate you sharing your demonstration of staying comfortable in your body as you're participating. That was great. Did you have anything you want to share about traditions for yourself this time of year? And let's get you unmuted.
No, I've never liked Halloween.
Well, Halloween or the transition also into fall. It just says if there's anything, and it may.
Yeah, I mean, I love the thinning of the veils, but I don't have any tradition. I just participate if I'm called to participate.
Are the subtle beings any louder, do you think, for others during this time, or is there anything that they do differently?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I did ask the she if
and if you could say who they are. People don't know who they are.
The she are an ancient beings that have been around for thousands of years, and they're not a whole lot different than we are, but they just don't have the density that we do, and they haven't really been close to us, but recently they've come closer because they want to help with what's happening with humanity and Gaia. And they're yeah, it's so hard to put it into words. If you are interested in the she, it's spelled Sidhe. They're known more in Ireland, the Irish culture. But if you are interested, there's some books that you can check. And the same with the angels. If you're really interested in the angels, Lorna Byrne wrote Angels in My Hair, which really gives you an understanding of the angels that are around us all the time. But yeah, as far as the Halloween, I don't participate except to give goodies to the kids.
It's great. Thank you so much. Lisa's
Thank you.
something to share.
Yeah, I thought I might as well share since I asked the question. When I grew up in Michigan, I didn't realize how many ceremonies I participated in that seemed extremely casual, and yet they were throwbacks to the rituals that our families held throughout the ages. Bonfires, right? Pumpkin carving, and then all of the other tiny rituals that almost passed me by unacknowledged. And to me, it seemed like because it was so casual and because it was de rigueur for our families and our friends, we all shared similar habits and rituals, but they weren't venerated as rituals. It was just part of dinner. It was just part of what we do to clean out the house, the spring cleaning. And then of course there's the fall cleanings and things like that. And never realized how intertwined they are with our ancestors and the rituals through honoring the seasons and the changing of the seasons on the wheel. And as I come out of the closet, it's just fabulous to see. It's like, oh, I've been doing this all along, So it's kind of like those mementos are showing me how I'm remembering. And to me, it's exhilarating. And so, yeah, I do miss a good bonfire. So if anybody here in the Seattle area is throwing a bonfire, let me know. I want to come. Oh, cool. I see some hands. But yeah, so back when I was living in the South, I would dress up my yard for the trick-or-treaters. So yes, I love Halloween. I always said it's, the day I get to shine, the day I get to show my true self, which, now I can show my true self 365, but I think it was somebody on this panel who said, I get to show more of me. So yeah, I'm all about that. But yeah, it's that whole just watching the sunset, watching the leaves change, and really feeling the energy of the earth and the veil just kind of come together. I love that so much. It's that 24 hours. I wrap myself up in it like a cloak. I just absolutely love that energy. So thank you. That's what I miss. So if you got a bonfire, let me know. Send me your address.
Oh yeah, now that it's raining, we can do a bonfire out here. So we're out here on 7 acres. So yeah, you bet. All right, Karen's got something to share.
I apologize. I'm on my cell phone now because my internet became unstable and I don't know how to use this thing on my phone. Okay. So, as I was listening to this, I was realizing as a child, I was always drawn, right? When I started my introduction about this, I was talking about how I was always drawn to Halloween in this time of year, long before I'd ever heard of Samhain or that witches were real, right? Because when I was growing up, I thought that they were just stories. And I was constantly drawn to the scary stuff that would come out at Halloween, the ghost stories and the witch movies. And I'm kind of just processing and realizing now that even then it was just this realization of like this time of year, it's a call back to our ancestors. It's a call back to previous lives that I've lived. And it's a call to the energies and the entities that I have been able to connect with my entire life. I remember as a teen playing with the Ouija board this time of year and having great fun with that. And, just really embracing all of what this season has to offer. And I've got children and I've raised them to love Halloween and to fully get in the spirit of it. And we really let them pick what everyone's going to wear. And it's like a theme for the year for the family. And we watch Hocus Pocus every single year. And we just moved to Florida. So previously when I lived in New Jersey, we would spend a whole day at the farm. We'd go on the hay ride. We'd go pumpkin picking. And oh, Laureli, it's one of the best movies is It's Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker for Hocus Pocus. And I forget the third woman's name. But there are witches that were killed in Salem during the Salem witch trials, and a virgin lights the virgin black flame candle in the 1990s and accidentally, thank you, Susie, accidentally brings them back from the dead. And so it's like this whole, it's a very, very fun story, super fun story. And they just came out with Hocus Pocus 2. But anyway, you know, we've really gotten in the spirit of like truly embracing everything that this season has. And I find that I am so much more motivated, and my meditation practice is so much more powerful this time of year. And I just love like what this starts, like this going within and the quiet season and following nature, right? And like allowing all of the excess to die and to get quiet and to really let go of everything that I don't want to bring into the new year, into the spring when everything starts to blossom again. And so I really like on a fundamental level connect with everything that this season really brings. And it's literally my favorite time of year. Like I look forward to this every year. Even now when I'm in 89-degree weather, I'm still like, oh, it's fall.
Oh my gosh. And Thorne just mentioned there's also a recently released Hocus Pocus 2. So if you haven't seen that one, okay, great. Yes, one said. And Practical Magic is a dear favorite of mine during this time of year, as well as the Halloween Town movies Thorne shared. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I totally didn't know about this film. How fun. All right. Anyone else? Favorite rituals or practices during this time of year? All right, well, let's see. I'll do one more check. I don't think we have anyone else in line to ask a question. So we're going to end this panel on what is typically the normal time today. And I'm just double checking. My kitty is making sounds in the back, and the kitty's mom is coming to live with us tomorrow, I heard. So she's coming. So we're going to have, the mom is supposed to stay here. And this kitten's sister is at the house next door where my office is. I'm in my second office at the moment. All right. Well, thanks everyone so much for being here. Let me paste everyone's info in the chat again. And I'm also the tip jar for the interpreters. If anyone's able to donate to that, we would appreciate that very much. Where I also put a link in the chat. If you're willing to share some feedback today about your experience, we will put you in a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. If you give us your email list, you give us your email address, and then you'll also be able to hear from all of the practitioners by email. This event is going to get posted on our YouTube channel. Some links of where to find us and what's going on are in the chat too. And oh, people are coming home. One moment, a dog is possibly going to go running out.
Run.
Hi, sweetie. Aylin, the door is open. Is Zoe coming in? Okay, great. The kitty is sitting right here on the, okay. Thank you. The kitten and the cat are just learning to get along and just not fully introduced with Zoe yet. All right, practitioners, I'm still doing my panel, just FYI. All right, so information on the practitioners is starting to come in, and then practitioners, oh, let me say something about upcoming events. More events that we have coming up, other panels. On Tuesday, November 1, we have Finding Peace and Happiness. Monday, November 7, we have a Metaphysics and Intuition Practice Circle. So if you want to practice your gifts with peers, if you've been practicing for a while, if you're new, if you're simply wanting to practice your intuition, it is a great opportunity to practice with people in a safe space. Practitioners who want to come help run it and do that with me too. And then November 10, we have Herbs and Plants for Health and Healing. November 13, we have an Anything and Everything training panel. So this is for people that want to get practice on a panel. It could be that they're new to sharing online, new to sharing in front of an audience, new to just sharing their modalities, and they want to get practice doing this online with friendly people, if they've been practicing for a long time and online is new, all those kinds of things. And I'm going to put information on these in the chat. Oh yeah, and Viana, I should be posting your information in the chat. I'll double check it, but I should be posting that along with everyone else's in just a moment. On in-person fairs, the BEPC Conscious Wellness Expo in the Seattle area is November 5 and 6. That's coming up. We have over 100 booths, and we need to find just a few more to help us, support us with, we've expanded to a second room. So if anyone wants to join us to have a booth, that would be great. And of course, everyone is welcome. Let me check Thorne's email and make sure I've got the right one here. I think I do. And yeah, so, and everyone is welcome to come. It's open to the public. And then the MeWe fairs, we're going to be in Linwood in the Seattle area again, November 19 and 20. November 19th, Medium Amanda Gale is also doing a presentation. And then we're going to be in Eugene, December 9 and 10, Portland, December 17 and 18. And I have recently announced all of the dates for 2023. So check your emails, and I'll be sending out more emails about that. And let's see, so we're going to probably go in the related order as before. Thorne, I will go ahead and put you at the end again this time though. Let's see, so we've got Susy, Lisa, Susy, Henry, Lisa, and then Karen, Natalie, Viana, and then Thorne. All right, go ahead, everybody, check out, go ahead, share who you are, your contact info, if you want to share your special, how people can contact you on the web, all those kinds of things. Go ahead, Susy.
I'm Susy Parker Goins of Blue Lightning Healing. I'm a channel, energy healer, helping you on your path to find your own truth, your own witchiness, your own power, your own energy. You can find me at bluelightninghealing.com or email me at Susy, S-U-S-Y, at bluelightninghealing.com. This has been a great time. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Susy. Or in Henry.
It was a great time. I've really missed it. It's been a long time since I've been on a panel, and I just loved it and loved seeing you all. So I'm Henry. I'm going to speak up more. I'm Henry India Holden, and you can reach me at henryindiaholden.com, and I do a number of different modalities. And the purpose of all of my work is to help you find your purpose or define your purpose, and then developing action steps to fulfill this purpose, because it's not enough to just know what you want. And I have a personal journey experience with that. For most of my life, I just couldn't figure out what my purpose was. I had honestly talents in many different areas and was called to many different things. My mom was an opera singer, I was a musician, etc., until I realized, oh, my purpose is to help you with your purpose. And then once I discovered that, now I'm good for the rest of this lifetime. And I work with people metaphysically if they're so inclined. I'm assuming if you have visited here, you are so inclined, and or not if you're not. And I offer a free consultation, so it's 30 minutes. And in the chat, you can see the link. If you can't make it sort through the chat, you can just email me at henryindiaholden.com for a link, and so you can set up a 30-minute conversation to see if I can help you with anything that you're up to in your world. Thank you.
Thanks, Henry. Lisa.
The interpreters are going to switch.
Super. Thank you, Laureli. I'm Lisa Stewart of Co-Create Magic. I call myself a creative mixed medium. It's my mission to help mystics find the courage to co-create, to grow their confidence and their income. And of course, as a fellow animal lover, I share a number of funny animal stories talking to my cats. So I'd invite you to talk to your cats and your dogs and other pets you might have. You'd be amazed what you can learn. I also have drawn protection signals for your pets to apply to any material that you'd like. So go check them out on my website as well. I also have sigils available on various merchandise through Redbubble. Lastly, if you're starting a business, I'm an intuitive business guide. There are a variety of ways that we can work together, and I've got a number of things going on to help you where you're at. I'm on all the socials at cocreatemagic.com. And also check out our new podcast with Susy Parker-Goins and Kai Bertrand, Mystic Mosaic Podcast on all the YouTubes. Thanks so much and stay magical.
Thanks, Lisa. And then Karen.
So I am Karen Coccia, KarenCoccia. So you can find me at karencoccia.com. I am a quantum healer and a soul alignment coach. My mission is to help people to truly experience and feel and see and understand just how powerful they are. I work mainly in one-on-one sessions, really helping you get rid of all of the stuff that you've accumulated in this lifetime and others so that you can be a true and authentic version of you and be who you came to be in this lifetime. Again, karencoccia.com. And I am offering $20 off on sessions. If you were present here, my coupon code is MeWe20 as in 20. And you can apply that for the Zoom sessions on my website, karencoccia.com. This has been such a pleasure. Thank you all. Thank you to all the panelists. This has been such fun. And I look forward to seeing all of you again soon.
Thanks, Karen. Natalie is next.
Okay, my name is Natalie Aguilar. My business is Moonwise Mystic. So my website, moonwisemystic.com. And that would be Instagram at Moonwise Mystic. My specialty is aura portraits. It's an intuitive reading that I am verbally giving you as I am creating a visual record of the reading. And it is to show you your strength, your abilities, the energies around you, and a lot of things that are going on in your life that I'm picking up from your auric field. So it's information that your guides are imparting to mine, and I am relaying to you. So it's what's important at the moment in your life. On my website, you'll find explanation of my services, and you'll also see the handmade ritual tools and the magical supplies that I sell. I also do tarot readings and Reiki healing through Zoom. And of course, the aura portraits through Zoom. So it's moonwisemystic.com. I'm Natalie, and it's been a lovely evening. Thank you all, everyone that listened and everyone that participated.
Thanks, Natalie. Viana. Let's get you unmuted.
Hi again, I am Viana Fox, and one of the things that I forgot to mention is that I like to help people connect to their universal function. And I like to teach people how to take care of themselves. And since I've been a massage therapist for 45 years, I love teaching people how to massage themselves. And I help you become more embodied through movement intelligence, which helps you connect more to the subtle beings. And I put in the chat the books about the she, if you are interested in checking that out. And I love helping people talk to their animals. And I'm so glad to be here and meet all of you. Give me the opportunity for the first time to be talking about this publicly. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Great. And just a couple more things. You said your website is viana-motion.com if people want to find you. And then also, can you just say more of what that means to you? The universal, can you say again what it is and what it means to you?
Well, I have learned that when we come into this life, we are given a universal function. And most of us here are doing our function, but a lot of people don't understand that they agreed to do their function, which serves humanity and serves the earth. And so if you don't know your universal function, I can help you find that out. And I also would like to offer a half hour chat to see, for you to get to know me and see if I can help you in any way. So contact me through viana-motion.com. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. All right, Thorne is next.
All right, great. Hello, I'm here. It's Thorne, and he, they, them, and I live in Portland, Oregon, and my areas of interest are tarot. I'm a tarot reader, I'm an astrologer, and I work with both transit charts and birth charts. And I'm an energy worker, and I work to support people's health and their journey. And I'm a self-awareness to deal with that in energy work. And what else? There's just a myriad of things. I'm a life coach as well. I interface that with what I do, and I work with clients in several ways: hearing, deaf people, tarot, non-tarot. I work with all different groups of people, but mostly identify as queer, trans, I work with that group a lot, deaf and hard of hearing as well. But I really work with the gamut. So, and that's fine. My website, you can find me. My website is www.spiritoracle.com. And then also on Instagram at Heart of Oak. And then email, you can contact me. If you don't want to direct message me on Instagram, you can email me at heartofoak8@gmail.com. You have to understand that I'm not on Facebook. So it's those three. That's how you can find me. Or also, I also work with the fairy community. So if someone is related to you in that community, then we can interact through that as well, through that space. My work is very intuitive and psychic and energy based and energy aware. All right, and thank you for having me here. I really appreciate being involved with this, and I look forward to contacting anyone in a magical space in a magical way. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Thorne. And the rest of us back up on here. And I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. I read your eyes, read your soul, and answer questions about your soul, your path, your purpose. Can answer questions about career. I love to use this for matchmaking to help you find a soulmate, someone that has similar eyes, not physical properties of your eyes so much, but energetic properties and things like the angle and the movement. And it correlates with what you love, what you value, what you contribute, why you're here. I love to find soulmates to connect with each other, not only because it feels so great and I just say it's just such an intimate, deep, connecting experience. It also helps us grow so that we can share our purpose in the world. Oh, you can find out more about me at laurelishimayo.com. That's Laurelishimayo.com. I also do 20-minute mini sessions with people. And so those are complimentary sessions. And I've been doing drop-in dating, coaching, and matchmaking events. And if you would like to come to one of those events, your first time is free if you've been here at the panel. And then after that, they're $20 each. And the ones that are coming up, I just have them posted in the chat if you're here and you'd like to come. I have lots of them. I just scheduled November. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to get insight about dating, coaching, matchmaking if you're looking for another partner. And also great to hear from other people that are on this journey. It's just much more supportive to hear from other people that are attempting to do this in a conscious way, and the things that are easy and the things that are hard, and know that you're not alone, and learn from each other's experiences. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. It's been lovely being here together. Just thank you so much. I appreciate the reminders of the meanings of this time of year and all of the ways that we have an opportunity to be with all of us and all of what's here and celebrate each moment. You can learn more about all of our upcoming events at miwifairs.com, and there are videos of many of our practitioners, and anyone that wants to connect with anyone that's on panel or any of our practitioners, please reach out to me and I will connect you. I look forward to being with you again, all in person and online. Thank you. And practitioners, if you're willing to hang out for a little bit, we will have a chance to connect with each other. And I'll put in the chat one more time if anyone wants to share a donation or to share feedback and enter our drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice.